Good morning, and welcome to the multi-platform service of Tri-County Unitarian Universalists based in Summerfield, Florida. We acknowledge that we occupy the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the indigenous Florida peoples. I'm Peggy Roberts, today's service leader. And hello to our members and friends, and a special welcome to those of you who might be visiting for the first time. Unitarian Universalists are united not by a creed of shared beliefs, but by a covenant of shared values. We celebrate that we do not need to think alike in order to love alike. It's our respect and encouragement of each other's diversity of thought that truly binds us together. For the curious and for the seekers, Unitarian Universalist values and covenant may be found on your order of service and at our website, triuu.org, triuu.org. Our newsletter included in the timetable can also be found there under News and Events. We have announcements, but first please mute your phone, or please put it in airplane mode. We don't have to turn it all the way off anymore, but please silence it at least. We had a fantastic Christmas tea on Thursday that included a holiday stories program by storyteller Steve Burt, standing in the back, who is a longtime Tri-UU member. Steve sold vintage collector copies of his bestseller, A Christmas Dozen, after the program, with 100% of the sales going to Tri-UU. Steve has only 25 copies left of the hardcover and will be available after church to sign and sell them again, giving 100% of every $20 sale to Tri-UU. Thank you, Steve, and we shall certainly miss them when they leave sometime early next year. We had a fantastic Christmas tea on Thursday that included, our next announcement. Our January newsletter needs your news. We want to hear from our Tri-UU teams. You can brag about your team, ask for a volunteer with special skills to be on your team, or thank a special person for a job well done. Send your articles to Lenore at lenoretriuu@gmail.com by December 23rd. Lenore, are you here? There's Lenore right there. At our Christmas Eve service this Wednesday at 4:00 p.m., we'll take a collection to support the Minister's Discretionary Fund. And that's obviously a fund that our minister can use for anyone in need. Since not everyone is able to attend that service, please know that donations are welcome throughout the month and year by making a note on a check or an envelope during the worship, sending a check by mail, or by making a note when using a credit card on our website. More information is in the newsletter, or you may speak with Reverend Kristina about that. Nancy and Ken Garrison have invited everyone to a Christmas Day UU&U potluck at their home in the village of Finney, beginning at 3:00. That's Christmas Day. Please see the flyer behind AV for more information and to sign up. Oh, that table behind AV. Okay. This includes our announcements, and as we now begin the service proper, we'll recite our vision statement. Please join with your voice as we recite it together. We'll wait till we see it. We will be an influential voice for progressive religious values in a diverse community. Our chalice keeper today is Yvette Garza. We invite those of you joining us on Zoom to light your chalice at home.
In longest night, the light is born, a promise whispered, soft reborn. The dark retreats, the stars remain to guide the heart toward dawn again. ChatGPT.
Today is the seventh, we're keeping up to date, right? Today is the seventh day of Hanukkah, and Linda Bobbitt and Helene Kirschbaum will now light our Hanukkah candles.
Praised are you, Lord our God. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who made us holy through your commandments, and commanded us to kindle the Hanukkah lights. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who performed wondrous deeds for our ancestors at this sea.
Our opening words this morning come from Rebecca Ann Parker, who writes a winter blessing. In the shadowed quiet of winter's light, earth speaks softly of her longing because the wild places are in tears. Come, she cries to us, kneel down here on the frosty grass and feel the prayer buried in the ground. Bend your ear to my heart and listen hard. Love this world, she whispers. Distill peace from the snow and water the cities with mercy. Weave wonder from the forest and clothe grief with beauty. Rest in the rhythm of the turning of the year, tracing the bending arc, rounding the curve toward justice, and vow anew to do no harm. The winter trees stand watch, haloed in the last gleams of the slanting sun. Glory sings here, heaven echoes the call, repeat the sounding joy. Make your life an answer, bow, praise, rise. Come, let us worship together. Our opening hymn is Touch the Earth, Reach the Sky. Please rise and lift your voice in song with me. So our story this morning is The Rebirth of the Sun by Starhawk, Diane Baker, and Anne Hill. And what you just saw up there is a piece of my cross-stitching. People ask about that from time to time, and I chose to have that picture in today's service because it was created for a good friend of mine, Reverend Ben Atherton Zeman, who is our minister in St. Pete, on the occasion of his installation. And he is pagan, so it was important to me to have something that represented his beliefs and values. And if you notice from the picture, there were branches up above, and a lot of times the tree of life is only shown from the trunk up. But underneath, is a whole root system that does not look like my Celtic knots that are there in the shape of a heart and such, but it's still represented. And so an important value for pagans, Wiccans, and other earth-based tradition people is that as above, so below. And I just wanted to share that. All right. So this is a story about when the sun was born again. It was the middle of winter, and the sun had grown very old. All year, the sun had worked very hard, rising and setting day after day. All year long, the sun had fed everybody on earth, shining and shining, giving energy to the trees and flowers and the grasses so they could grow and feed the animals and birds and insects and people. All year, the sun's gravity held tight to the spinning ball of the earth and the twirling ball of the moon and the 8 other whirling planets as they traveled around and around and around until the poor sun was dizzy watching it all. Now the poor, tired sun could barely make it up in the morning, and after a very short time needed to sleep again. So the days grew shorter, and the nights grew longer, until the day was so short it was hardly worth getting up at all. I feel the sun right now. Night felt sorry for the sun. "Come to my arms and rest, child," she said. "After all, I am your mother. You were born out of my darkness billions of years ago, and you will return to me when all things end. Let me cradle you now as I shelter every galaxy and star in the universe." And so night wrapped her great arms around the sun, and the night was very long indeed. "Why does the dark go on so long?" asked children all over the earth. "Won't the sun ever come back again?" "The sun is very tired," the old one said, "but maybe if you children say thank you for all the things the sun does for us, the light may return in the morning." The children sang songs to the sun. They thought about all the things the sun gave them. "Thank you for growing the lettuces and the corn and the rice and the wheat," they said. "Thank you for growing the trees of the forests and the seaweed of the oceans and the krill that feeds the whales. Thank you for stirring the air and making winds that bring the rain." Every time a child said thank you, the sun began to feel a little warmer, a little brighter. Wrapped safely in the arms of night, the sun grew younger and younger. At last, the children had to go to bed. "We will stay up and wait for the sun to rise again," the old one said. "Can't we stay up too?" the children asked. "You can try, but you will get too sleepy," the old one said. "But you can each light a candle, because all fire is a spark of the sun's fire. Put your candle in a very safe place and let it keep vigil for you as you sleep and dream of sunrise." So the children lit their candles and put them in very safe places, and each flame was a little spark of the sun's fire. And the sun peeped out from between the arms of night and saw all the little fires and began to feel warmer and brighter and younger still. Early in the morning, the old ones woke the children. Together they climbed a high hill and faced the east, the direction of the sunrise. They sang songs to the sun and ran around trying to keep warm. They waited and waited to see what dawn would bring. The sky began to turn from black to indigo blue. Slowly, the sky grew light. A golden glow crept over the horizon. Night opened her great arms, and in a burst of brightness, the sun appeared, new and strong and shining. For in the long night the sun had rested well and grown young from the songs and the thanks of the children, young as a brand new baby, born out of night once more. Everybody cheered, and the children jumped up and down. The sun has returned! The sun is reborn! The people cried, and they danced and sang to celebrate the birth of a new day. And then everyone went home to breakfast. Now, as we move deeper into our service, we will turn inward to consider the transitions, the joys, the sorrows, and concerns that we all experience in our life's journeys. Andrea? Before we get started with our stone ritual, we'd like to take a moment for a big transition the congregation is going to experience soon, and say thank you to Barbara Woodson, who has been an active member of this congregation for some years and is leaving this week to move to the state of Washington.
Okay, I see you there, Barbara. And I'm a member of the membership team, and we certainly like to recognize any one member who moves on for whatever reason. And Barbara's been a unique member of this congregation since 2017. Not in somewhat the typical way, in that Barbara is not one to join committees or do that sort of thing, but Barbara is a powerhouse in what her talents and her interests follow. Many of the things she does go unnoticed or seem incidental, like picking up the mail for several years, faithfully going to Summerfield post office and getting the mail here and getting it in the right slot. She's offered suggestions and helped with presenting forums. And if you remember, she gave a powerful and touching Sunday service sermon, which is well remembered. Barbara also instigated or started or promoted day trips to Ocala Art Museum is one I remember several times, I believe, and also the cruise. There was a cruise a year ago to the Northeast Coast that number of you went on. Barbara also, big and small things. She took over the, you might say, menial thing of ordering our name tags, but she did it so well. Whether it was a big task or a small, it was done right. Barbara's was also a frequent chalice lighter, giving pertinent and succinct chalice messages. And she served as service leader several times, if I recall, and did it that well. Everything she did well. She also enjoyed, I think, and we certainly enjoyed her, the Monday morning coffees at Panera's. I think she enjoyed it too. It was always a good discussion going on there, and Barbara frequently brought another new perspective, another angle, which is appreciated. Then the Buddhist meditation, she participated in that. So the range of activities and involvement that Barbara's had over the years. But probably the biggest, I don't want to say the most important, because some of those personal things are really more important in that aspect, but her contributions and leadership in re-energizing the Limited Liability Corporation for our organization that is the bank, the loan company for our congregation. It was floundering for a number of years because of illness of the former persons in charge. Barbara gathered up, I can attest to this, a trunk load of boxes of files that needed desperately to be sorted through, reorganized, and brought together. She's got that up and running successfully with new contributions, keeping it within house, that our loan, the LLC members are all tri-UU members, as it requires in the bylaws. And Barbara did this in her own style of participation and contribution. She was reliable and dependable. She had a fresh perspective on many items, which frequently made me rethink things. Her generosity, of course, in time and funds. She's tenacious And certainly the work with the LLC proved that. She doggedly worked to get that back on track, and definitely before she left. I don't know that she would have left if she hadn't gotten that back on track. And we thank you for that, Barbara, and your many, many contributions. You did it in your own style and in your own way, and we love you for all of it. But I'm sorry, I should have had you come up here, because we do have a parting gift for you, and it's even color coordinated. In the bag is color coordinated. I don't know how I knew you were going to. I think yes, it kind of matches. When you get up here, you'll see. But maybe you.
You were the first one to love me.
You taught me a lot, Barbara, and I'm still growing. So keep in touch, and we wish you well. And the more liberal, friendly territory.
I felt like an obituary. Thank you, Reverend Kristina, for straightening that candle. It was driving me crazy. I don't know if it was driving anyone else crazy. Thank you. Yes, I see a lot of OCD people in here. Yes, yes. I just want you to know that when I came in, I was a sad, broken widow, totally isolated for years from the world, bitter and lonely. And you absolutely transformed me. You included me in parties. You loved me. And I'm a different woman. I'm a happy woman. And I want to issue a challenge to you. I want you to find the next broken, lonely man or woman in here who comes every week but doesn't say anything. I want you to invite them to their home and keep inviting them and keep loving them until you transform them. And I promise, I pledge as a changed woman that I will go to Washington and pay it forward. Thank you so much for everything you've given me.
Thank you both. I also want to mention, thank you both. Helen Doan was hospitalized this week. I'm not sure if she's still in the hospital or not. I forgot to check in this morning. She's been dealing with an extensive and debilitating rash, and she was waiting for a treatment plan. It's been a really difficult week for her. All right, so we did that. Okay, there are 3 bowls of stones of different colors now, representing the gratitude of joy, the grief of sorrow, and whatever feeling you're having related to your concerns. After those present have placed stones in the water, our ushers will place stones from each of the bowls into the water on behalf of those of us not present in the church and those who have chosen not to or who are unable to come forward. Those online are invited to type into the chat to express what is on your heart. When all the stones have been mingled in the water, we will take a moment for silent meditation or prayer. You may now come forward. Let us take a moment now to reflect on our own joys, concerns, and sorrows, and those of others in this beloved community. After this moment passes, the sound of the chimes will bring us back into this space, and we will sing our response this month, Find a Stillness.
Our offering. If you're visiting us for the first time, please do not feel obligated to give. You are a guest, and we're happy to have you here with us today. This is the time in our service when those who wish to make a monetary contribution to our congregation's vision and mission give to support this community and its outreach. If you're putting cash in the basket that you want credited to your pledge, please put the cash in a brown envelope with your name on the front. Envelopes are available on the table at the back of the sanctuary. I invite the ushers to come forward.
I have two readings this morning. The first is from Barbara Brown Taylor, an excerpt from her Learning to Walk in the Dark. She writes, "Darkness is shorthand for anything that scares me, that I want no part of, either because I am sure I do not have the resources to survive it, or because I do not want to find out. The absence of God is in there, along with the fear of dementia, the loss of those nearest and dearest to me. So is the melting of the polar ice caps, the suffering of children, and the nagging question of what it will feel like to die. If I had my way, I would eliminate everything from chronic back pain to the fear of the devil from my life and the lives of those I love. If I could just find the right night lights to leave on. At least I think I would. The problem is this. When, despite all my best efforts, the lights have gone off in my life, literally or figuratively, take your pick, plunging me into the kind of darkness that turns my knees to water, nonetheless, I have not died. The monsters have not dragged me out of bed and taken me back to their lair. The witches have not turned me into a bat. Instead, I have learned things in the dark that I could never have learned in the light, things that have saved my life over and over again, so that there is really only one logical conclusion. I need darkness as much as I need light. And the second is To Know the Dark by Wendell Berry. To go in the dark with a light is to know the light. To know the dark, go dark. Go without sight and find that the dark too blooms and sings and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings. Long before Christmas and Hanukkah, many of our ancestors were celebrating holidays that have faded a bit in modernity. For pagans, Wiccans, and likely many others across the world, many of these holidays were related to the Earth's relationship with the sun. Days like the solstices and equinoxes that mark the passage of time and the movement of the seasons. Modern pagans and those who practice other earth-based traditions call this the wheel of the year. The solstices mark the times of the year when the sun is at its highest point in the sky during the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, and its lowest during the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. Stonehenge is a symbol and site of this long-time commitment to honoring the relationship between people, the earth, and the sun. I also kind of love the fact that we haven't figured out why it was built yet. There's often an assumption that because scientifically or otherwise, that because we know things that people who lived thousands of years ago didn't know, that we are somehow smarter than they were. A place like Stonehenge suggests we may be quite wrong about that. Stonehenge is about 4,600 years old and was probably in the making for something like 1,000 years. I am fascinated by this and wonder how the concept was handed down generation after generation to take the project to its completion. Some of the stones were only brought from about 19 miles away, while others have been traced to varying distance, with the blue stones coming from about 145 miles away from where they stand now. Those are some fair distances to think about in a time when people had no vehicles or trains or giant barges that could manage the stones. The largest, the sandstone, weigh about 25 tons each. The altar stone, a long and flattish stone that resembles an altar, is from about 466 miles away from northeast Scotland and weighs about 6 tons. Why it was chosen and moved such a long distance is unknown still at this time. It is believed to have been moved by boat. But whatever the reason, it clearly was considered very important to the peoples of that time. Stonehenge, all this time later, continues to align with the summer solstice sunrise and the winter solstice sunset. Some believe it was built as a holy site, others that it was a scientific observatory. Maybe I don't know any better, but why not both? The division of religion and science is fairly new, and one that many religious and scientific people would argue is a false one. During this time of year, clergy especially get asked if the stories are true. Like the story that we heard earlier. Just knowing this little bit that we have learned about Stonehenge, factually, I don't believe the story is true. Did the ancients, capable of spending lifetimes constructing Stonehenge, which aligns perfectly with the sunrise and sunset of the two solstices, did they honestly believe that the sun might disappear forever, or that it was through their efforts that the sun returned? I don't think so. But that doesn't make the story untrue. There are many reasons why we do equate fact and truth, and given our times and the circumstances of the U.S., those are very real and necessary. Stories, though, are not meant to be taken as fact and instead convey to us truths that sometimes facts fail to capture or that we can remember and share. Facts are important, and stories are too. So some of the wisdom or the truth in the story of the rebirth of the sun, for example, community is survival. That was true in 10,000 BCE and is just as true now. We all get tired after busy seasons and need to rest. Life is born in darkness. Gratitude for the earth, the sun, and the night help us remember our relationships with each and all, and that we need to tend to take care of these relationships in the hope that we too will have a bright future. That we need one another throughout our lives and across the generations. We are all connected, born connected to another person. That need to be connected with others continues all our days. And that even on the longest nights, many of us will choose hope and inspire it in others. My guess is that most of us have found this time of year a difficult one at some point in our lives. In my own life, this season is filled with, of course, the holidays as well as family birthdays. And as I have gotten older, it has also been the time of year when family and friends have passed. When I was a chaplain and supported hospice patients, we knew that it was common for people to pass this time of year. Usually the hospice floor would have an entirely new roster at the beginning of the year. People do their best to make it as long as they can, wanting one more festive holiday or whatever date or holiday marker they want to experience that one last time. Or for those of us who are going through the firsts or seconds of a loved one's absence following their passing, the first holiday season without them is a common challenge. The second holiday season is sometimes worse. We know the firsts are hard, and people often show up for them. The seconds then can become worse because people aren't as attentive for them, and the person is more alone with their grief and sadness. And the nights are longer, and those of us with seasonal affective disorder can struggle a lot more during this time of year, especially in wintry climates. And those of us who have experienced depression and other mental illnesses struggle this time of year because of the lessened light, witnessing what seems like joy around us, but inside feeling isolated and sad. How busy some people are and not feeling as connected to them. How we might, in the lessened light, be stuck spending more time with ourselves, which can lead us to spiraling. Last year, I shared some of author Catherine May's story and from her beautiful book, Wintering, The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times. I highly recommend it, especially if you are in a place of feeling lost or displaced or sad or lonely in this season or any other. Being a person in this world is hard. Know that you are not alone and be buoyed by May's wisdom. Our narrative of the solstices is around light and darkness, which is problematic because our wider social narratives about light being good and dark being bad. This gets transferred onto people, witnessed by our culture's priority and supremacy of whiteness versus Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, or all of the non-white peoples. There's been a great effort in the maybe last 5 to 10 years to either decenter the light versus dark focus, as with May's concept of wintering, which she says can happen anytime, and or the lifting up of ways of cherishing and celebrating darkness. We heard from Barbara Brown Taylor and Wendell Berry in the readings about the importance of darkness. Similarly, Reverend Lenny Duncan writes about Advent, but the message holds across all traditions, saying, "Y'all, in the dark night is when you can see the stars guide the way. In the lovely ebony richness, luminous beings declare, do not be afraid. In this rich blackness, we meet divinity clothed in oppression and vulnerability. So much mystery to explore in blackness." And then I am also reminded of a watch night service some years ago, nine years ago maybe, Valerie Carr's powerful question asking if this is the darkness of the tomb or the darkness of the womb. She invoked it in a political and spiritual frame. What if, she wonders, we are witnessing not death, but birth, or maybe even both, something passing, something growing. This last year, according to the Chinese zodiac, was the year of the snake. This was considered a transformational year for those who follow such things. Snakes shed their skins. Sometimes the shedding is difficult. A bit holds on until it can be released. What if right now we're experiencing that phase of transition, whether in our personal lives or otherwise? Earth-based traditions remind us that nothing in nature blooms year-round, and that balance, even if twice a year, is important to experience. Without it, we may be too unmoored, too driven for more, that we repeat Icarus' last flight. So enamored of his ability to fly, he gets too close to the sun, melting the wax used to secure his feathers, and he falls into the sea and drowns. In Wintering, May shares that we believe that much of this life dies in the winter, but this is not true. Factually, at least, storytelling-wise, it depends. She writes, "Even as the leaves are falling, the buds of next year's crop are already in place, waiting to erupt again in spring. Most trees produce their buds in high summer, and the autumn leaf fall reveals them, neat and expectant, protected from the cold by thick scales. We rarely notice them because we think we're seeing the skeleton of the tree, a dead thing until the sun returns. But look closely, and every single tree is in bud. The tree is waiting. It has everything ready. Its fallen leaves are mulching the forest floor, and its roots are drawing up the extra winter moisture, providing a firm anchor against seasonal storms. Its ripe cones and nuts are providing essential food in the scarce time for mice and squirrels, and its bark is hosting hibernating insects and providing a source of nourishment for hungry deer. It is far from dead. It is, in fact, the life and soul of the wood. In death, there is still life. In darkness, there is still hope as the wheel turns. May we cease resisting and lean into night's embrace. Again, Rebecca Parker's words. In the shadowed quiet of winter's light, earth speaks softly of her longing, because the wild places are in tears. Come, she cries to us, kneel down here on the frosty grass and feel the prayer buried in the ground. Bend your ear to my heart and listen hard. Love this world, she whispers. Distill peace from the snow and water the cities with mercy. Weave wonders from the forest and clothe grief with beauty. Rest in the wisdom of the turning of the year. Trace the bending arc, rounding the curve toward justice, and vow anew to do no harm. The winter trees stand watch, haloed in the last gleams of the slanting sun. Glory sings here, heaven echoes the call. Repeat the sounding joy. Make your life an answer. Bow, praise, rise. If you would please rise and lift your voice in song with me for our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home.
I invite anyone who has just begun to visit with us and who wishes to do so to introduce themselves. Please raise your hand and an usher will bring a microphone to you. And keep the microphone, please, close to your mouth so we can hear you better. Great.
Good morning,
Morning.
everyone. My name is Mary. I'm visiting from Connecticut for 4 months. I'm a member of the Unitarian Church of Greater Bridgeport, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Great. Welcome. Glad to have you.
Morning, my name is Kelsey Aho. I came one time a few years ago. My mom lives down here, so I'm visiting for the. I can also just speak loudly. Is that helpful? No? Okay. Okay.
Hey.
Morning. My name is Kelsey. I am visiting from the Unitarian Church in Fairbanks, Alaska.
Whoa.
Visiting my mom and my aunts down here, and I've been once before, but it's nice to see you all. Happy solstice.
Well, welcome back. Glad to have you. Anyone else? I see some other old friends returning with us, some of our former choir members here today. Glad you're back. Welcome. Anyone else? Excuse me? Oh, the chalice. I'm sorry, did I miss the chalice? Oh, Yvette Gaza will now, and you even came up. Yvette Garza will now read our chalice extinguishing message. I'm so sorry.
The First Green of Spring by David Budbill. Out walking in the swamp, picking cowslip, marsh marigold, this sweet first green of spring, now sautéed in a pan, melting to a deeper green than ever they were alive. This green, this life, harbinger of things to come. Now we sit at the table, munching on this message from the dawn, which says we and the world are alive again today. And this is the world's birthday. And even though we know we are growing old, we are dying, we will never be young again, we also know we're still here right now, today. And oh my, don't those greens taste good.
Now, back to, if you, if you would like to receive, the ones of you visiting, if you'd like to receive regular communications or anyone, On upcoming Tri-U events, please take and fill out a guest card, which will be available at the door after the service. On January 24th, there will be a class for those wanting to know more about Tri-U. Please sign up at the table in the back of the room, and if you can or don't want to wait until then to ask your questions, see Andrea at the back, at the table after the service. We are interested now to know how you experienced this hybrid worship service and or what you took away from the sermon. For those who are on Zoom, raise your hand to speak or type your comment in the chat box. For those here in the gatherings place, please raise your hand, and if there's time, Reverend Kristina or I will call on you. Please share your name and keep the microphone close to your mouth so we can hear you better. Our Zoom friends would like to see your faces, so if you're willing to, come down in front and stand in front of the pulpit. Please keep comments brief, please. We don't have too much time. Eileen.
I'm Eileen, and I really resonated to the words, "Without the darkness, there is no light." There has been darkness in my life, in and out of my life, and I didn't have the skills, nor the strategies, nor the community then to know what to do. I'm very proud to say I am in the light most of the time now. And I also resonated to the words, "Without community, there is no survival." And one of my strategies is coming here and being with you to stay in the light. But about community, I just want to say one of those events was this last Thursday, and that was part of the community coming together. We would not have had that without Steve and his stories, Carol with her cups and saucers, Brenda and Bill with their silver, and all of the wonderful women that took time to bake cookies to make it a special event. I want to thank everyone, and I want to thank you for the thank you notes that I received. One of them said, "Thank you for bringing a civilized event to UU."
Anybody else? Anyone on Zoom?
All right. Our closing words. We often rush to find the light, to look forward to the returning of the sun. May we remember that the darkness offers comfort, healing, and rest to all living things. May we celebrate its gifts and gentle embrace.
Join us for the fellowship in the back of the room until 11 o'clock. Reverend Kristina will be around until 10:20-ish. For those who'd like to talk with her, come and say hi. If you want a bit more to eat and more time to visit, there's a sign-up sheet on the table near the bookshelves to coordinate with others who'd like to go out to brunch. The Zoom room will stay on for 20 minutes. Thank you all so much for being here with us.